After my stepdaughter insulted me for divorcing her mother, I cut ties completely. 3 months later, they came crawling back. Hello Reddit I plus here. I never imagined I'd be airing my personal life to strangers online, but the truth is, the people I thought I could trust the most turned out to be the ones holding the knife. For 16 years, I was dad to Mia. I met her mom, Natalie, when Mia was barely 4. Her biological father had been out of the picture since she was a baby, and I stepped into the role without hesitation. I didn't just date a woman with a kid, I embraced fatherhood. I showed up to every school play, every soccer game, every parent-teacher meeting. I learned how to braid hair from YouTube because Mia wanted to go to school with princess hair. When she had nightmares, it was me she ran to. Natalie and I married when Mia was 7. We weren't perfect, no marriage is, but I thought we were solid. I worked long hours as an architect, but I always made sure to spend time with them. Family movie nights, weekend camping trips, Sunday breakfasts at our favorite diner. I also made sure they never had to worry about money. Mia went to a good private school. I paid for her braces, her summer camp trips, her first car when she turned 16. I even started a savings account for her future. College, wedding, whatever she needed. I thought I was building a life together. About a year ago, things started to shift. At first, it was small stuff. Natalie being more secretive with her phone, going out with friends from work I'd never heard of, staying late at the office more often. She started spending more time at the gym, but only in the evenings. She'd brush off my questions with, "You're overthinking," or "Why are you acting so insecure?" Mia's attitude toward me also started to change. She became more distant, more sarcastic. Little digs started slipping into conversations. Maybe mom just needs someone who's actually around. Why do you care what she's doing? You've got your work. I chalked it up to teenage mood swings, but the timing felt too aligned. One night, Natalie came home late from a work meeting smelling like a cologne I didn't wear. While she was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the counter. The name on the screen was Eric. No last name, just Eric. I didn't open it, but the pit in my stomach was enough. I started paying attention. She'd get texts at odd hours and turn the screen away. Her social media habits changed, suddenly posting gym selfies and girls' nights that looked like they were taken by the same person. And then there was Mia. She'd defend her mom anytime I questioned something. Too quickly, too forcefully. Mom deserves to have a life, you know. Stop making everything about you. It was like she'd picked a side, and it wasn't mine. I caught them, not in the cliché, walked in on them in bed way, but in a way that left zero doubt. I had an early meeting canceled, so I came home around 10 a.m. I saw Natalie's car in the driveway and assumed she was working from home. When I walked in, I heard laughter from upstairs. A man's voice, low and familiar. In that intimate way, you only laugh when you're comfortable with someone. I didn't even go up. I left, drove around for hours, and came back when I knew he'd be gone. That night, I confronted her. She didn't deny it. No excuses, no tears. Just, "I'm not happy, and Eric makes me feel alive again." I told her we were done. When I told Mia, I expected shock, sadness, maybe anger, but I didn't expect what came out of her mouth. "You're selfish. Mom deserves to be happy, and you're just bitter because someone else treats her better." 16 years. 16 years of being her dad, and she hit me with that. That was the moment I felt something in me shut off. I moved out the next week, filed for divorce. Told Natalie she could figure out her own finances now. That savings account for Mia? Closed. The car? Transferred back into my name. I'd bought it outright. If she wanted to return it, fine. If not, I'd sell it. Mia made her position clear. I wasn't her father. Fine. Let her biological dad, wherever he was, step up. For 3 months, I heard nothing. No calls, no texts. I figured that was that. Last week, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hey, it's Mia. Can we talk?" I ignored it. An hour later, "Please, Mom and I need your help. We made a mistake." I agreed to meet, mostly out of morbid curiosity. Public cafe, daylight. Natalie looked wrecked, thin, exhausted. Makeup doing a poor job of hiding how bad things had gotten. Mia sat beside her, staring at her coffee. Natalie launched into the story. After I left, Eric moved in. Within 2 weeks, he started draining her savings. Then, he borrowed her car and never brought it back. Finally, he dumped her for someone younger, leaving her 2 months behind on rent. Mia had to drop out of college. No tuition money, no car, and she couldn't find a decent job. They were crashing in a friend's spare bedroom. Then came the ask. Natalie wanted me to help them get back on their feet, because we were a family once. Before I could even respond, Mia started crying. She said she'd been wrong about me, that she'd believed what her mom told her. And then she admitted it. She'd known about the affair months before I found out. She'd been helping her mom hide it, covering when Natalie was out, lying about where she was, even deleting messages from Natalie's phone so I wouldn't see them. When she saw I was starting to suspect something, she started making those digs at me on purpose, to push me away, so I wouldn't look too closely. I sat there for a moment, just absorbing that. Then I told them both, as calmly as I could, family doesn't stab you in the back and then ask you to fix the wound. I stood up, left enough money on the table for my coffee and walked out. That was a week ago. No more texts, no more calls. The strange thing is I'm not angry anymore. I'm not sad either. I feel lighter because I finally see the truth. I wasn't losing my family. I was letting go of people who'd already left me long before I walked out the door. They burned the bridge. I just made sure they couldn't swim back. For a while I thought that was the end of it. I'd walked away, they'd been exposed, and life was finally quiet again. But I underestimated just how entitled Natalie could be. About a month after that cafe meeting, I got served actual court papers. She was suing me for breach of parental responsibility and emotional damages. Apparently, her lawyer had crafted this fantasy where I was still legally obligated to financially support Mia because I had been her de facto father for most of her life. Her filing claimed that I'd abandoned them without providing transition support. I'd emotionally traumatized Mia by cutting her off suddenly. I had a moral obligation to pay for her college because I had promised to do so before the divorce. When I first read it, I almost laughed. But then I remembered, if the wrong judge bought their sob story, I could be on the hook for years. I immediately called my attorney, Mark. The man is a shark in a suit. He's been handling my business contracts for years, and if anyone could rip this apart, it was him. We went over every detail. The car, the savings account, the tuition payments I'd already made, the fact that Mia was an adult now. Then Mark asked, "You have proof of the affair and her knowledge of it, right?" "Oh, I did. Screenshots. Bank statements showing Natalie's hotel charges, messages between Mia and her friends where she bragged about helping mom keep her secret. Even a few voice recordings from when I confronted Natalie." Mark just smiled. "Let them walk into this trap." Natalie showed up in court wearing a light cardigan and minimal makeup, trying to look humble. Mia sat beside her, avoiding my eyes. Her lawyer opened with a sob story. "Your Honor, for 16 years, my client's husband acted as a father to this young woman. He promised her security, stability, and a college education. And then without warning, he abandoned them both, leaving them in financial and emotional ruin. I watched them nod along like they were starring in some made-for-TV drama. Then it was our turn. Mark stood and said, "Your Honor, we don't dispute that my client was a father figure. What we dispute is the idea that he owes continued support after being deceived, manipulated, and betrayed by both the plaintiff and her daughter." And then he dropped the hammer. First, the bank records, thousands spent by Natalie on hotels, restaurants, and gifts for another man. Then the screenshots. Mia texting her friends things like, "LOL, I covered for mom again, dad's clueless," and "She's with Eric Arin, I told him she's at work." Then the voice recording from the night I confronted Natalie. "Me, you've been cheating on me for months and Mia knew?" Natalie, "She was just trying to protect me. She knew you'd overreact." The courtroom went quiet. Finally, Mark pointed out that Mia was 20, an adult, and that any moral promises about college were not legally binding, especially given the admitted betrayal. The judge didn't take long. While the court acknowledges the emotional complexity of this case, the law is clear. The defendant has no ongoing financial obligation to the plaintiffs. Case dismissed. Natalie's face dropped. Mia looked like she'd been slapped. Outside the courthouse, Natalie tried to approach me. "We didn't mean for it to go this far," she said. I told her, "No, you just meant to take everything you could get until there was nothing left. And now, there's nothing left. For you." I walked away without looking back. It's been 6 months since that day. No more lawsuits. No more texts. No more urgent messages from unknown numbers. I've learned that sometimes, the final revenge isn't some big dramatic gesture. It's living your life untouched while the people who wronged you are stuck in the mess they created. They came for my money. They left with nothing. And I left with my peace.